In the southern valleys of the United States, many farms are struggling as wild boars proliferate at an alarming rate, tearing up corn and potato fields overnight. These invaders not only devastate crops, but also pose a serious threat to the safety of local residents. That's why today, we've decided to embark on a special hunting trip equipped with the latest gear and thorough preparation. Will this mission help us stop the advance of these dangerous creatures and bring home a worthy trophy? Follow our journey as we set out to face the wild boars head-on. Early morning on a vast southern grassland, the engine of the off-road vehicle growls, echoing through the empty valley. Before long, a herd of wild boars appears ahead. Wasting no time, I raise my rifle and lock in on a massive target. The bullet pierces through the beast's body, but with the strength of an adult wild boar, it still gathers all its energy to make a run for it. Wow, this hunting trip is certainly not going to be an easy one. Our hunting team quickly resumed the chase after the wild boars. Don't let them get away. I shouted to my teammate. Without hesitation, he floored the gas pedal, quickly closing the gap to the herd of beasts. Without wasting a moment, I squeezed the trigger. The sharp crack of the gunfire echoed, and one of the boars dropped instantly. The remaining shadows scattered, running for their lives. The pursuit grew more intense than ever. There ahead, my teammate yelled, "Bang!" Another boar went down. You see, no matter how fast they are, they can't escape the sights of my rifle. After the recent chase, we huddled together to discuss our strategy and decided to continue the hunt in complete silence. My teammate and I moved cautiously through the valley, and there ahead of us, a herd of wild boars was gathered. Quietly, I raised my rifle and Nick, my teammate, pulled the trigger. The shot echoed through the still air, and in that instant, a threat to the local people was swiftly neutralized. Before we could even catch our breath, we received a signal from our teammate. Chase them. John signaled. The team quickly split into different directions, hunting down the boars that had just managed to escape. From my position, I spotted a wild boar darting across the green grass, trying to make a run for it. In an instant, my bullet flew like lightning, striking the beast in a vital spot, sending it sliding to the ground, motionless. Where do you think you're going? I thought to myself, just then, a gunshot rang out from the north, echoing across the valley. It turned out Jack, my trusted teammate, had spotted a few boars trying to hide in the thick grass. With his precise and decisive shooting skills, he took control of the situation immediately. The boar was struck and dropped to the ground, with no chance of escaping. Now, tonight, the local people could sleep soundly knowing they were safe. Just when it seemed like the hunt had come to an end, a gunshot suddenly tore through the quiet air. It turned out my team leader had silently pursued another deer. He picked the perfect moment to strike. With his masterful shooting skills, he needed only one shot, clean, precise, and flawless. The boar dropped in an instant, cementing his reputation as a seasoned marksman who could not be outdone. Today's hunting trip has come to a successful close, with results that speak for themselves. All activities were carried out in full compliance with local hunting regulations, ensuring both the protection of crops and the control of harmful wildlife. The journey was tough but filled with emotion, leaving us with unforgettable moments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to join us on our future hunting adventures.
When night falls over Florida, it's not just about peaceful silence, it's also the time when dangers lurk from the deep woods. Wild boars, one of the most destructive invasive species here, often use the cover of darkness to wreak havoc and cause chaos. That's why night hunts have become a mission we hunters can no longer postpone. Follow this intense journey to see how we take them down. The moment we set foot in the area, we encountered our first wild boars. Through the thick interweaving foliage, we clearly spotted their silhouettes in the scope, ranging from massive adults to tiny piglets, all foraging for food. After closely observing their movements, we raised our rifles in unison and fired. Gunshots roared through the silence of the night, shattering the stillness. Some boars dropped instantly, while the rest scrambled to flee in panic. Staying on the trail, we seized the moment, aimed and pulled the trigger. Our agility and precision helped us win this tense encounter. We calmly waited for them to step fully into range. And then, we hit and I fired round after round toward the herd. Sparks flew from the muzzle, flashes lighting up the night sky, followed by deafening cracks. The final blow to those savage beasts. I quickly swung my rifle to the left, where a group of wild boars was moving through the grass. This would be our next target. The instant the first shot rang out, chaos erupted. The herd scattered in every direction, desperately trying to escape. They tried to spread out and flee in all directions, but some unlucky ones couldn't evade our sights or the relentless chase. next challenge. And this time, the prey didn't disappoint. A fat, hefty herd stood right before us. They rooted around blindly, eyes glowing eerily in the dark. My heart pounded faster as I slowly pulled the trigger. The bullet flew straight and true, taking down one of them cleanly. After a short break, we switched tactics, this time focusing on lone boars. The gunshot echoed across the quiet night, dropping the target instantly. Fueled by our earlier victories, we dove into our second round of the night hunt with even more determination. As the night deepened, the boars came out in greater numbers. Some herds had over a dozen individuals, always alert despite their activity. Using a mix of patience and stealth, we crept closer. When the time was right, our entire team opened fire, taking down targets swiftly. The night wore on, the chase continued, and we collected an impressive list of successful takedowns, one after another. Barely having time to enjoy our recent wins, we spotted more boars from our lookout point. Everyone quickly took their positions, raised their rifles, and fired. A volley of accurate shots from experienced hunters ended the encounter in no time. Round after round flew out and reloaded rapidly. The number of wild boars eliminated had reached dozens, an almost unbelievable count. Without this operation, it's hard to imagine the damage these beasts could have caused to the nearby fields. In the pitch-dark forest, danger from wild boar attacks could strike at any moment. That's why precisely pinpointing their location was absolutely critical. Their silhouettes moved, sometimes gathering, sometimes scattering. But whether they were solo or in groups, our shots took them down swiftly. We packed up the spoils of our hunt with pride, wrapping up this thrilling night pursuit. That brings our hunt to a close. Thank you for joining us on this wild adventure. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel.
In Bulgaria, particularly in the temperate forest regions interspersed with grasslands and farms in the north, wild boars have long been a source of distress for the local population. Not only do they destroy crops, but they also cause severe damage to the natural ecosystem. The increasingly serious situation has forced locals to resort to extreme measures, such as setting up electric fences around their gardens, or even hiring professional hunting teams to track and trap the wild boars. Despite trying many methods, the wild boar population here has never shown a significant decline. And so today, once again, we pick up our rifles and head out to hunt. After a quick breakfast, we led the hunting dogs around the back of the farm. Freshly harvested cornfields are always a feast that lures the wild boars down from the hills. I figured this was a prime spot for an ambush, surely a big catch today. Sure enough, less than half an hour into our wait, a large herd of boars suddenly burst out from a patch of dry corn. Excited, I couldn't help myself. I raised my rifle and pulled the trigger. The startled herd scattered across the field. The biggest, fattest one appeared to be hit, injured, and lagging behind. The hounds quickly surrounded it, leaving it no chance to escape. At that point, all I had to do was walk over and finish the job with one clean shot. Our first trophy of the day was in hand. After that thrilling encounter, we moved to the other side of the field. This area hadn't been harvested yet. Lush green grass stretched out to the horizon. With such clear visibility, it was ideal for another ambush. From a raised mound, I scanned the area and quickly spotted a new target. I raised my rifle, calmly tracked its movement, waited for the perfect moment, and fired. The bullet hit the hind leg. The boar slid across the grass and came to a stop. Success after success kept the whole team energized. Even though it was nearly noon and the sun was beating down on the field, no one felt tired. This time, we decided to hide behind a corn bush. Jake and I got into position, gripping our rifles tightly and waiting patiently. There it was, a fat wild boar slowly wandered in less than 10 meters from our spot. It paused, seemingly sensing danger from the barrel aimed straight at it. But we didn't waste a second. A few rapid shots rang out. The boar was hit, but still tried to flee. I couldn't let it escape. I quickly fired a few more rounds, and finally it collapsed in the middle of the field. What unfolded before me was an astonishing sight. A herd of several dozen wild boars stormed past like a black whirlwind, kicking up clouds of dust and leaving behind that pungent, musky scent of the wild. Gunfire erupted across the field, and in the chaos, a few boars didn't make it out. Early in the afternoon, we split up to scout more targets. I rode my motorbike around the wheat fields. Suddenly, a dark figure moved among crops. I hit the throttle and gave chase. But in my excitement, I rushed it. I tried firing one-handed while riding and kept missing. By the time I stopped the bike, the boar had vanished, leaving me frustrated but still adrenaline charged. Just when we thought the hunt was over, Jake and I were driving back to base when, out of nowhere, a pitch-black boar dashed across the road ahead. Instinct kicked in. We stopped and raised our rifles. Jake fired first, but missed. I fired right after, trying to keep steady. This time, the shot landed. The boar flipped over and thrashed about at the field's edge. The golden light of sunset stretched across the distant treetops. We sat by the truck, laughing and chatting. More boars had been taken down, but what lingered most were the heart-pounding chases, the decisive shots, and even the near misses across the wild plains.
Have you ever wondered how thrilling it would be to hunt wild boars with a bow and arrow? No deafening gunfire, no long-range advantage, just me, my bow, and a massive beast lurking deep in the forest. This time, I'm facing the largest wild boar I've ever encountered, a true giant with razor-sharp tusks and a thick, rugged coat. A single mistake, and I could become the hunted instead of the hunter. But can just one arrow be enough to take down this formidable beast? Watch until the very last second. This is going to be a heart-pounding battle for survival. Wild boars belong to the Suidae family and are widely distributed across Europe, Asia, North Africa, and North America. They are the ancestors of domesticated pigs and are known for their remarkable ability to survive in the wild. Not only do they thrive in forests and vast fields, but they can also inhabit swamps. Boars are excellent swimmers and often wade through shallow waters to bathe in mud, cooling their bodies while protecting themselves from parasites. These swampy areas provide an abundant food source, including roots, tubers, insects, frogs, fish, and carrion. Dense swamps serve as an ideal hiding place, shielding them from human activity and predators like wolves and bears. However, their excessive reproduction has led to severe ecological damage. We couldn't just stand by and watch, we had to take action immediately. As sunlight filtered through the dense canopy, we embarked on a challenging hunt, this time armed with bows instead of firearms. Following faint tracks imprinted in the soft mud, we spotted a large, healthy boar, weighing around 80 kilograms, foraging obliviously. This was our chance. My partner tightened his grip on the bow. The arrow was in position, only waiting for the perfect moment. Suddenly, the boar sensed something. It raised its head, eyes glinting with suspicion, and then bolted like a whirlwind. The first shot missed. Damn it, it escaped. We continued tracking, determined to seize another opportunity. Patience, that was the key to victory in this battle between man and nature. And after a nerve-wracking pursuit, the beast finally fell. Our hunt didn't stop there. Over the next 2 hours, we secured several more successful kills. Venturing deeper into the swamp, the muddy terrain made maneuvering difficult, especially with a bow. We positioned ourselves high in the trees for better concealment and a perfect vantage point. Below, an automatic feeder had been set up, acting as the perfect bait to lure in unsuspecting wild boars. As expected, it didn't take long before an entire herd arrived, drawn by the scent of food. They rustled through the mud, eagerly searching for scattered corn. I quietly raised my bow, aiming for the largest and strongest one in the group. My focus sharpened as I prepared for the decisive shot. The first arrow flew, but missed. The entire herd panicked and scattered. The dominant boar, the strongest of them all, vanished into the dense brush. Luckily, the smaller ones hadn't gone far. The lingering scent of food tempted them back. This was our second chance. I pulled back the bowstring, eyes locked onto my target, and released. But no, another miss. Frustration surged through me, but I reminded myself, bow hunting has never been easy. Determined to redeem ourselves, we set out again the next day, ready for another thrilling chase. And there they were, for wild boars, a promising target. This time, our meticulous preparation gave us the upper hand. I took a deep breath, drew back my bowstring, and took aim. The arrow shot like lightning, striking the boar dead center. It crashed violently before collapsing. A surge of triumph coursed through me. The tension and anticipation melted away, replaced by sheer exhilaration. The morning sun cast golden beams over the vast swamp, painting the scene with a raw, untamed beauty. The air was crisp, carrying the earthy scent of damp soil. I locked onto my target, a massive boar digging through the dirt, completely unaware of the danger looming. To maximize our chances, we waded into the swamp, mud sucking at our boots as we moved closer. But the boar, cunning as ever, suddenly changed direction, forcing us to quicken our pace. My heart pounded with every step. Then, a moment of truth. I cut ahead, blocking its path. My grip tightened on the bow, my breath steadied. There was no room for hesitation. I aimed at its weak spot and let the arrow fly. A perfect shot. The beast fell instantly. Our specialized vehicle rumbled through the muddy terrain, bringing us deeper into hunting grounds. Without delay, the team set up bait and prepared for an intense showdown. After over an hour of patient waiting, the first boar appeared, moving cautiously toward the trap. Peering through binoculars, we spotted an entire herd following its trail, closing in. My pulse quickened as I gripped my bow, pulling the string back to full draw. The arrow whistled through the air, striking true. Got it. But the hunt wasn't over. Seizing the opportunity, we continued claiming our prizes. Tonight would be a true feast. In the end, a single precise arrow was all it took to bring down the colossal wild boar in an instant. This hunt was both thrilling and exhausting, but we were proud of what we accomplished. Our relentless efforts played a crucial role in managing this destructive wild species. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel.
Wild boars, creatures once thought to lurk only in deep forests, have now invaded the plains, causing unimaginable damage. They not only destroy crops, but also leave villagers living in fear as night falls. Faced with this crisis, what will farmers and hunters do to reclaim peace? Join us in a heart-pounding pursuit where the line between man and beast is drawn by a single gunshot. First, join us as we step into the chilly night of rural America, where giant wild boars exploit the cover of darkness to ravage fields and livestock pens. Guns, thermal binoculars, infrared lights. Everything has been meticulously prepared for a heart-pounding hunt under the moonlight. We drove for about an hour to reach the hunting area. The silence was eerie and unsettling. From a distance, a herd of beasts was quietly tearing through a cornfield. I quickly raised my rifle, locked onto the target, and pulled the trigger. The gunshot shattered the night's silence. One boar was hit and collapsed to the ground. The rest scattered in panic, fleeing in all directions. Not missing the opportunity, we decided to track down the surviving boars. A target was spotted. Swiftly raising my rifle, I pulled the trigger. The sharp crack of the bullet echoed through the silent night. One beast collapsed, motionless on the cold grass. The night hunt concluded with victory for the season hunters. After a tense night, the first light of dawn dispelled the darkness. Seizing the moment, we swiftly moved up the mountain for a daytime hunt, where the prey roams actively under the radiant sunlight. Join us as we continue this thrilling pursuit of the beasts. Silently weaving through dense bushes, a dark shadow suddenly darted out in front of me. Reacting in a split second, I raised my rifle and fired. The blast echoed through the mountains and forest. The beast struck squarely in its midsection. It collapsed onto the dry ground, thrashing briefly before gradually losing its ability to resist. The gunshot shattered the silence, sending the surrounding wild boars into chaos. The frantic barking of hunting dogs signaled the presence of other prey. As expected, a group of wild boars was hiding, hoping to evade my rifle. Without hesitation, I swiftly raised my gun and locked on the target. A clean shot rang out, and the lead boar was hit, collapsing in the middle of the forest without making a sound. As we descended the mountain, we encountered stray boars from the herd busily foraging. Aiming from a distance, I fired a single shot at the target. It collapsed and lay still instantly. The remaining boar fled in panic, leaving behind an eerily silent scene. The daytime hunt concluded with the giant beast herd as the defeated. Today's journey of night and day hunting has come to a close. From the silent darkness to the radiant daylight, each moment brought its own challenges. But with seamless coordination and precise shots, we emerged victorious. Everything was conducted in legal areas and in compliance with regulations. Wild boars are becoming a widespread threat across Europe. From the forests of Spain and even to the mountains of Poland and France, they ravage crops, cause accidents, and defy all control efforts. We have gathered valuable food from hunters worldwide who have directly confronted and pursued these beasts in their own territories. Join us as we revisit the most breathtaking encounters on Europe's battlefields, where every shot is not just a test of skill, but a battle of one's primal instincts. Do you know where you are? The first battleground is an ancient forest in Grand Estate, France, where Thomas courageously faced a ferocious beast. Here, thousands of accidents and hundreds of crop destruction incidents are reported annually, particularly affecting corn, barley, grapes, and apples. Amid the dense forest canopy, Thomas moves cautiously, as wild boars could be lurking anywhere. A faint rustle echoes from the bushes ahead. Suddenly, a boar charges out, as if sensing the rifle closing in. Without hesitation, Thomas raises his weapon, locks onto the target, and pulls the trigger in a decisive moment. The gunshot rings out, shattering the still air. The boar slides across the damp earth and collapses, completely motionless. The second battleground will leave you breathless. In Andalusia, the harsh semi-desert region of southern Spain, a squad of sharpshooters unexpectedly encounters a herd of wild boars attempting to flee across a steep hillside. The scorching climate and rugged terrain make this a survival paradise for the boars. They devastate gardens and even venture into cities to scavenge through trash. Under the blistering sun, the hunters spot the herd just ahead. Lucas, one of the lead sharpshooters, swiftly aims at the alpha. A precise shot strikes the beast's head, causing it to collapse and tumble down the rocky slope below. The herd panics, scattering toward dense bushes. But before they can take cover, a barrage of bullets rains down the slope, each shot echoing sharply, fierce as if signaling the downfall of an entire pack of beasts. Have you ever faced a 200 kilograms beast just a few meters away? If not, this is that moment, a heart-pounding encounter between Phillips and a massive wild boar in the parched grasslands of Abruzzo, Italy, where these creatures not only destroy crops and threaten traffic and livestock, but also spread African swine fever. After nearly 10 minutes of lying in wait among the bushes, a rustling in the dry grass signals the target's approach. The hunting dogs immediately circle, barking fiercely. Phillips grips his rifle, his breath waiting. A colossal beast emerges. Without hesitation, he pulls the trigger, bullet burying deep into the boar's body. Instantly, the dogs charge, locking down the prey, giving it no chance to retaliate or escape. The hunt is complete. Leaving behind the intense battle in Italy, we move to another thrilling hunt. This time, it's Nick and a monstrous beast in the Bieszczady Mountains of southeastern Poland. This wild, densely forested area, nearly devoid of human presence, is an ideal breeding ground for wild boar populations. However, it's also a place where they cause severe damage to corn, cereals, vegetables, and industrial crops, driving up control costs each year. Nick quietly traverses the mountainside, tracking his prey. Then, before him stands a massive wild boar, engrossed in digging through the damp soil, oblivious to the danger closing in. Nick raises his rifle, locks onto the target, and pulls the trigger. The bullet flies true, and the beast collapses. A cold, clean takedown, exactly what you'd expect from a seasoned hunter. The final footage of this journey takes us to the Balaton region of Hungary in the midst of a harsh winter. In this once peaceful area, wild boars have become a nightmare for the precious vineyards, forcing locals to erect electric fences to protect their crops from relentless destruction. Hidden on a snow-covered slope, Paul spots a beast quietly approaching. Unfazed, he grips his rifle tightly, aiming directly at the target. A deafening shot shatters the icy silence. The boar, hit by the bullet, thrashes desperately on the snowy ground, giving the prey no chance to fight back. Paul fires a second shot, decisive and precise. The battle ends in eerie stillness, marking another victory. Our journey hunting beasts across Europe's battlegrounds concludes here. Which clash impressed you the most? Drop a comment below to let us know. Countless more thrilling encounters await. Like and subscribe to catch every heart-pounding hunt.
When the first leaves begin to turn gold across the forests of Turkey, hunting season officially kicks off. In the cool, breezy autumn weather, much milder than the sweltering summer, wild boars often gather in groups and head out in search of food. That makes it the perfect time for hunters like us to track them more easily. Now, let's dive straight into a thrilling, intense, and emotionally charged hunting expedition together. As the sun dipped low on the horizon, our team hit the road in our familiar hunting truck, heading toward the forest. The moment we arrived, everyone got into position without hesitation. I focused all my attention on every subtle sound and movement. There it was, the target had emerged. The wild boars sensed danger and bolted, but a well-placed shot from dropped one of them just in time. Still in the same ambush position, I was presented with another chance to take the shot. This time, a boar charged head-on toward me. Before it could veer away, I pulled the trigger. The animal had no chance of escaping. The hunting dogs were doing an excellent job. They had locked onto another boar. But at nearly 30 kilometers each, the animal scuttled away and escaped, leaving us frustrated and disappointed. We continued scouting the area, and suddenly, without warning, a new target appeared. I didn't hesitate, immediately got into shooting stance and squeezed the trigger. The first shot missed, and the entire group of boars scattered in panic. A rapid follow-up volley eventually brought one down, motionless on the ground. I headed into the forest pool with a few friends and our pack of hunting dogs. Under pressure from the dogs, the wild boars were forced out of hiding. I was ready, one emerged, then another, and then an entire group came into view. Without letting up, I aimed and kept firing. After a barrage of bullets, a number of them lay lifeless in the dense forest. On the other side of the forest, my friends had also taken position and waited patiently. 5 tense minutes passed in silence. Then finally, the prey appeared. But these animals were clever, weaving through the trees to avoid detection. Still, with sharp instincts and skill, Harry swiftly took one down.
26.
Less than 5 minutes later, a few more wild boars emerged, catching us off guard. Quick and agile, they zigzagged through the trees. Harry, keeping steady aim, took careful shots. Eventually, one from the group fell in the heart of the woods. I quietly moved deeper into the forest, gun ready in hand, waiting for any suspicious sign. And there it was, my goodness, not just one, but dozens of boars charged in our direction. I didn't hesitate. I quickly raised my rifle, locked onto a lone string, and fired decisively. The boar collapsed instantly. The rest scattered quickly, but gave chase. All of us kept reloading and firing, managing to take down many. The rustling of leaves nearby put me on high alert. Just as I raised my weapon, a wild boar burst out and darted right past me. I fired without hesitation. The first bullet missed, but the second hit its mark, dropping the beast within seconds. The deep forest, always a reliable refuge for wild boars, had once again hidden my next target. After some tracking, I finally spotted one emerging from the edge of the woods. I quickly raised my rifle and fired the moment it charged out. One single, clean, and precise shot was enough to bring it down. And just like that, today's hunt comes to a close. What did you think of this journey? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to catch more adrenaline-filled hunts coming your way.
Anatolia has a complex terrain with hills and valleys interspersed with swamps and swamps. Before that, we had the opportunity to hunt wild boars in the swampy area in the south of the Anatolian steppe. Because the terrain is swampy and muddy, we used a special vehicle, an airboat. This boat has an engine that is a giant fan that creates a great force to help the boat move on the dry swamp. Thanks to its fast speed, we were able to shoot down many harmful wild boars. However, the hunting trip in the Anatolian steppe brought us more drama and experience. The hunting trip lasted one day, starting before the sun had even appeared. After more than 1 hour of traveling from early morning, at 8 a.m., we encountered a herd of wild boars, all of which were adults. I raised the gun, my heart pounding. Amir whispered, "Shoot the leader or they will scatter." I took a deep breath, held it steady, and pulled the trigger. The explosion echoed throughout the mountains. A wild boar fell with a screech. The remaining herd was startled and scattered. Of the remaining wild boars, but because of the long distance, it was difficult for us to hit these wild boars. However, this herd of wild boars was probably exhausted and could not run far. We chased and shot down a few more wild boars. This increased the number of wild boars, which we shot down to nearly 10. As the sun rose, Amir and I decided to hike up to get a better look at the boar herd. Sure enough, Yusuf radioed that they had spotted a large herd on the slopes of the opposite bank. I aimed carefully, waiting for the moment when the boar stopped and fired. With a single shot, hitting the weak spot, the boar was hit and rolled down the mountainside. In the afternoon, we decided to move south to ambush the wild boars. This area is where wild boars often pass through to get into the farm. Sure enough, it didn't take long to wait. The wild boars appeared. Not letting it escape, Amir quickly shot down the wild boar, knocking it down on the spot. Wow, this wild boar was huge. Can you guess how many kilograms it weighed? The larger the wild boar, the more aggressive it is, and the more destructive it is compared to other wild boars. Therefore, we must hunt down these adult wild boars at all costs. As you can see, the terrain in this mountainous area is rugged, with steep slopes that make it difficult for us to move. The wild boars are very fast, and the bushes provide easy shelter for them. Without observation skills, it is difficult to detect the wild boars. These wild boars relied on the rugged terrain and escaped our repeated shots. "Next time I won't let them escape," said the Emir. Amir and I moved down to a position near the ravine. The soil here is more humid, so the shrubs and grasses grow well. If you don't observe carefully, you might not be able to detect their location. At a distance of hundreds of meters, this wild boar was taken down. To do that, what do you need? Simply a scope attached to a gun. To hunt wild boars or any wild animal, we need a scope to make the shot more accurate. In the late afternoon, we moved to the foothills near the farm to finish the hunt. Hunting wild boars did not bring us any joy, but because of the surrounding farm, the wild boars needed to be exterminated. This trip is not just a hunt, it is a journey connecting people skill, tradition, modernity. Please like and subscribe to the channel to watch more videos.